So just before this video gets started, I wanted to give major thanks to the people that you see here on screen. Seven Drew, AJ Lethal, Luro, RKD, Sprinkle Bro, The Money Badger, Executioner, and a few other individuals' names withheld for their overwhelming support for a situation that I was recently in. You guys did not need to do what you had done, but I really appreciate that you guys came and helped me out. Thank you so much. And for everyone watching, enjoy the rest of the video. What's up, everybody? It's Thunder here, and welcome to a brand new playthrough. Today, we're going to be going to early March 2002 for an Xbox racing title this time around, Rally Sport Challenge. We're going off-road again for the first time on this channel in what must be quite a while, I would have to say. I don't even remember the last time I did a rally game. I'm pretty sure it was Colin McRae Rally 2.0, and that was many years ago now. But we're switching it up this time with a more arcade approach with Rally Sport Challenge. This, as I mentioned, was released in early March 2002, March 4th in North America, and March 14th in Europe on the original Xbox. It would come to PC many months later, around November for the PC, and was developed by Digital Illusion CE, which, of course, you know better as DICE. Back before they were purchased out by EA, DICE, well, did more things than just basically tire themselves out with so many goddamn Battlefield games. And this was one of the things they did, was making a rally racing game. This is, in a lot of ways, is a spiritual successor to the 2000 rally game Michelin Rally Masters Race of Champions, which was a game they had also made. And even though two games, for the most part, are quite notably different, it's, you know, the same developers, so people kind of look at this as, in a way, as a sort of spiritual successor. And this game did very well in the critical reception when it came out in 2002. It currently has a, for the Xbox version, has a Metacritic score of 87. So it was a very well-received game, and honestly, when you kind of look at it and you give it a kind of a go-through, you can kind of easily see why. It's not as realistic of a rally game as Colin McRae, but it still had, compared to Colin McRae Rally, which itself isn't even the most realistic either, but the whole thing with this game, I feel that it was different compared to the Colin McRae. It was in a way, it's kind of going for a bit of a different approach, trying to have something more of like, maybe it's like own sort of kind of like identity and whatnot. But it's certainly quite interesting in a way. Now, this playthrough is going to be taking a look at all the different rally championships in the main structured mode. Now, there's only about 29 or so vehicles in this game, and we start with around 8 or so of them unlocked from the beginning, and they're kind of separated into like different sorts of tiers and whatnot. So this Toyota Corolla that we're using here for the first rally is part of that first lineup. You also noticed at the start there's two difficulties, beginner and normal. I'm I haven't ever done a playthrough of this. I've never played through this game in beginner before, so I'm not entirely sure if the AI is a little more forgiving or a little easier in that one. But the one change I do know in compared to beginner and normal is that if you play this in beginner mode, you have the ability to restart at any point during a rally. Whereas on normal, you do not have that option and would have to restart all the way at the beginning again. I mostly just went normal because, and I believe this is another thing. Please correct me if I am wrong. There are bonus events and other stuff that you can unlock quite later on in the game, which I believe is only accessible through playing it through normal, and is not something that you'll get in beginner mode. But the way that you kind of unlock stuff in terms of progression, it's a bit strange, and in the later parts, I will go more into detail about that as I do. But basically, what we're just starting with here, the first rally thing of the game, you got some nice open sandy tracks with a lot of places, a lot of area to kind of thrash your car about and kind of get a feel for the game. And in the early part of this game, even on normal, the AI is not very hard at all. So you can easily get first place finishes, and the standings are determined by points. It's not determined by time or anything like that. Points is the ultimate factor here in this game. So try to finish high, because of course the higher you finish, the more points you'll get. There's like almost like multipliers in a way. Similar to the game I did last time, Demolition Racer, but it's not quite the same, but so this, excuse me, as I'm just trying to talk as I'm doing this, I'm kind of spacing out a little bit, and yeah, I've already played through now. I've actually already finished this game as I'm starting this commentary, so you're gonna. I will put it simply, get used to seeing some little blunders and stuff, because the thing with this game is you do have to be very careful with the handling. Cars tend to, they tend to kind of gradually go into corners when you start to flick the stick, and as a result, for the most part, you're gonna really, to get the most out of these vehicles, you're going to have to really get them to slide through the corners. That's where you're going to get the most interaction with the vehicles. So really, you kind of have to preempt yourself going into corners. The way the physics are in this game, you have to preempt yourself going into corners. You gotta start making the turn before you actually are into the part where the track begins to curve. So you're gonna need, timing is very critical in this game, and it will be even more critical in the later stages. Though, also when we get to later stages, I'll have some stuff to talk about that, because, well, there's a little bit more going on by that point that I feel needs a bit of talking about. But, and I believe, having played the PC version of this game before, it is the same in terms of how the cars drive. In fact, I'm pretty sure the PC version, in most cases, is pretty much exactly the same, with the exception of a few minor changes, including one vehicle that's livery is changed because it's not on the Xbox. Because one of them has an Xbox livery, and for the PC version, they just changed it so it had like a DICE livery instead. I'll get to that once that car appears in the playthrough for the first time. But anyway, so as you can see here, though, even with the little mistakes and stuff, this, like I said, the first of these, the first one here is just meant to be kind of just to kind of get your feet wet, to kind of get you started and try to get a feel for what to expect with this game. But yeah, like I'm going back to the scores real quick. I mentioned 87 out of 100 is exceptionally high. For an early Xbox title, it was definitely one of the higher rated games. It was no Halo or anything. It was nothing groundbreaking, and especially looking back at it now, it's very primitive. But it kind of gave Xbox gamers, like who liked racing games, it gave them an interesting title to look at, and it was probably the best it was probably for the best, of course. GameSpot apparently named this the second best video game of March 2002, which is funny to kind of is kind of funny to look at considering back then, because that's definitely not something that they kept doing over time, for sure. Like the best games of the month. You get all these things now that are like, oh, it's the best game of the year. But best game of the month, that's definitely a little bit different, and I am looking this up to make sure that this isn't just some nonsense that someone posted, but it is in fact true. So, huzzah! But it's funny. It's just this is the sort of thing that you just really wouldn't be seeing anymore. And apparently, if they say second best, first best, from what I'm seeing here, was Virtua Fighter 4. And I think they were going by review scores, because GameSpot gave this game a 9.1 back in 2002, whereas Virtua Fighter 4 got a 9.3. So that is probably where they were getting their choice for naming it the second best from. PC Gamer, the U.S. version of PC Gamer, because there's multiple different PC gamers, and I think this is more in terms of the magazine. They nominated it for the best racing game of 2002. But unfortunately, Rally Sports Challenge did not win that reward. That went to Papyrus's NASCAR Racing 2002 season, which, if you played that, you probably could understand why they would have chosen that. It's not meant to be a knock against Rally Sports Challenge. It's just, yeah, you play race. If you've played Racing 2002 season, you'd probably understand why that was maybe PC Gamer's choice. Especially when you consider the PC version of Rally Sport Challenge has a slightly lower score of 77 on Metacritic. It probably doesn't help that it wasn't reviewed by as many publications as the Xbox version is. It was just a case of like, a lot of those sorts of games that came out on console first. The PC version, just because of the market, wasn't quite there for it compared to nowadays. You know, it kind of got a bit ignored as a result. But PC Gamer did still check it out, because of course that's their main focus, and they gave it like 881 versus 93 for Racing 2000 NASCAR 2002. But still, and then games for the annual GameSpot Awards, they named it the best racing game for the Xbox in 2002, and for the PC version it was runner-up. It doesn't say who GameSpot chose for that one. I might have to look at the archive for that one. It was also a runner-up for the best graphics, technicals put in brackets for some reason, on Xbox, and Xbox Game of the Year was also a runner-up. It's interesting thinking about it, because, man, they were really specific about how they did the rewards, and I kind of like that. I like that kind of more geekiness about it. But anyways, yeah, it's just that's just my personal. That's just I guess that's just more my personal take on it. Anyways, I really kind of went a lot of talking about a whole bunch of stuff, but not so much the events. It's not really a whole lot to talk about, because a lot of these stages are really simple. Just nice 4 simple stages with a little bit of challenge thrown in some places, but a good way to easily get a first victory. And you saw like little bonus points you get for depending on, and which the bonus points, the amount you get depends on your overall finish, whether you're first, second, third, or fourth. But anyways, that is going to do it for today's part. Thank you guys so much for watching. Check out my links down below. $1 or more will get your name at the start of the video. $5 or more, you get to watch it a day early on Patreon. That's a new little thing I'm doing from now on. But anyways, thank you guys so much, and I'll catch you on the next one.